for Benny Hill. Have you ever been to a crusade?
No.
Carrie?
Yeah.
You've gone to a crusade?
Yeah, I've been to a crusade before.
How did I know you?
Why?
I was a kid at the time.
Your house would take you.
Actually, yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
I figured.
If I've been to a crusade, I don't remember.
And then that's when I realized, like, probably I was the excuse, like, to leave the house.
Yeah, true.
Yeah.
Alikuwa naenda kupatana na mtu hapo
Wait, do house? Okay, no, let me not ask.
Back then.
Because I remember getting lost in there.
Alikuwa anaenda kumit na msi. I swear to God.
Yeah, for real.
Aki.
Because I got lost at some point. I couldn't see her.
Guy.
Yeah, it's just that it was in Coastal, and you know, like Mombasa, man, people are not like, it's not like Nairobi. So I said,
right?
I actually told a stranger I'm lost. And then the stranger asked me, who are you with? I was like, I came here with the house help. And then, so they took me to somewhere where there were cops.
You just didn't meet. You didn't meet the gangster.
Yeah.
Kidnapper.
And then,
Hakukuwa na Al-Shabaab
and then
back then.
Atoi just walks up to you.
There was
It's just like alarm.
wonderful.
It's like you can't even make this stuff up.
then when I was those kids, I was taken on stage. Yeah. Like,
Kama umepoteza mtoto.
yes. I was taken on stage. And then she showed up. She took me and then she's like, don't tell mom.
I would have
now mom
snitched.
knows.
No, I told mom.
Yeah, even me, I'd have snitched.
First thing.
Me, I'd have snitched. Mad.
First thing. And I said, she told me not to say it.
Wait, have you ever poted?
Bro, I told you there was a house help used to lock me in the house and go Katiana.
Yeah.
Bro, me, I've been through it.
The house is different. Even me,
I
was
swear.
in the house.
I wish she used to lock me in the house. What if I died?
With watches. She's going to Katiana with watches.
Hata sijui alikuwa kukatiana na nani. It's my
You
mom
don't know
who
what you're
told me.
laughing at. If you're a kid,
Yeah.
that happened. Because that's what all nannies did at some point.
Exactly.
Me back at the
Going to get
neighbors, I
her.
had to tell my mom, okay, listen, yeah,
Aki.
as soon as you leave, she bounces as well.
Yep.
So your toy here, she cries the whole day, Pakashi. That's why I started MCing.
You self-soothe.
So, I'm just like, yeah. Now we're sleeping. Nobody is responding to me, man. Yeah, paka nilikuwa na Pampers buns.
Oh yeah.
I usually tell people, not people, one person.
People
that I've been with, that it's a birthmark.
No.
Anywho.
I don't know how my mom found out. She's the one who was telling me that story. Because it's even a house girl who's on the picture. I was like, who's this? Then my mom was mad. It's like another house girl who used to lock you in the house and go Katiana with people. I'm like, what?
Like, damn.
But if there's one thing parents don't like when it comes to nannies, they should never have a boyfriend or a social life.
I swear.
It's like, how do you
How
see
dare
this?
you?
How do you see this?
Yeah.
As in, you just imagine yourself. You're 21.
Yeah.
That's it. There's nothing else. You're just 21. And then your employer is telling you can't date. That's
How?
We're not saying don't have
And
a
there's
social life.
this
Just don't
watchy, like, winking at
prioritize
you.
it over the children. You're here to take care of children.
Girl, I want my own kids as well.
Then go have your own kids outside of my house. Not where you're getting free food and rent.
I know. But
rubbish.
I think this is something that people don't understand. Like if someone is in their 20s, like especially like V, right? And then you leave her in the house there, and then you tell her, now, okay, but V is mature. You live because some of these nannies are like 18 to 21.
I swear to God, yeah.
You remember yourself 18 to 21. You are 18 to 24.
Yeah.
Right?
So just banning. You are banning.
Like, even if someone says, where? The baby. Imagine you be left at someone babies.
You throw the baby.
At
you go 18.
There's another one coming from outside with the bus, with the school bus, and then you do homework with them, and you're 18. And then there's a Kerry who has pitted 30. Hey, unaosha nyumba.
Unarusha omo.
The toy is kunyusha Johnny Walker. Twang. Dots. As soon as your mom bounces, you are blacked out.
Wrong.
You're wondering why you love clubbing.
Kumbe ulianzishwa pombe mapema.
Started at a young age.
Do you understand that there are nannies who do this to kids? Chapisha mtoto shots, unamwambia, me I have another side hustle. So during the day I'm side hustling, and then
at night I come to my
guza. I push everything under the kitchen.
I look like I've been working.
Yeah, because if you have those nannies who like you go, and then they're the ones who do everything. You come in, you leave in the morning, you come in the evening just to to supervise. I suggest one day inua kiti hivi.
Si ndio uangalie.
Angalia hapo chini ya.
See how well it's been cleaned.
Makwa carpet. Just know he or she akona boyfriend.
And then
But now
also
you're going really like far at kitty. Me, I've heard that house helps you, like they go to your bed. See, they clean your bed and everything.
And enjoy kitu.
Yeah, like it's your bed. I mean, it's more
comfortable place.
Yeah, it's more comfortable. It's bigger, and the bathroom is like right there. So,
oh my Jesus,
where else are they taking the watch?
I would die.
I don't know which one is worse.
And then you come back from work and she was like, "Hey, Nili decided you could badly share bed sheets."
Hey, which one is worse? You come home, you put the nanny on the bed, or you put your child, your son, your daughter with the boyfriend or the girlfriend in your bed. Or worse still, you put both of them. They are each other's boyfriend, girlfriend. You want to talk?
That's the worst one.
Apparently, guys' first sexual encounters, a lot of them is the nanny.
I swear to God, I've heard that story. Yeah, I've actually heard that story.
Like when us were just like, let's play with my baby doll. Let's go. There's the boy there. He's the nanny told me I'm cute.
Yeah.
How? And then you hear them. Like, I think a few months ago, I was sitting on a table where there were guys who were bragging
that their first sexual encounter was with their house girl.
When they were teenagers.
I have friends who like been through their house helps.
Who've been through the
Yeah.
Like moja akikuja anapita na yeye. Mwingine akikuja anapita na yeye.
Actually, I've heard of that as well. Yeah.
And it's even to an extent like I'm at my boy's house, we're playing PS and whatnot. So the house help is like cleaning the counter and whatnot. Unashtukia amemspank tu pa. As we're there, like must be nice. At that age, it must be nice.
Yeah,
because she was a young babe.
Yeah.
She was a young babe, light skin, hot.
Guy.
And
Me, I know.
we're like, what?
I know of a family where the father and the son were both smashing the
nanny. No, she was.
Damn.
Well, she was being underpaid.
Yeah, for sure.
That's a lot
She
of.
was
For
being
sure.
paid in other
When you
ways.
told her to take care of the family,
She was being
like
paid
that.
in other ways,
Bro.
okay?
She being paid ama there she's Jogo. Hapo si unafaa kumnini nime take care of your.
The best way around this is you do what my mom did, man. Once the boys become teenagers, you get a mother.
A mama.
Yeah,
tell you,
like you.
Even mothers are dangerous,
Let
by
me
the
tell
way.
you
Even
something.
mothers are dangerous.
Like the things I've had in even that
Because
table.
us, we had a mother, and me, I was like, man,
You're not into mothers, but there are guys out here. What our corner, because guys, even before we started this episode, see, we're discussing a few other things that were happening in this country.
That's true,
right? Like I think Hanjam's Yushi come to, because I honestly don't understand how you can start hooking up with the nanny. Right?
I don't get it.
Right, but I guess close proximity is the same question where I ask how you hooked up. You remember that whole conversation we're talking about neighbors, we're talking about colleagues, right?
Yeah.
And me, even in those ones, I said,
You are
I know, because I need comfort, man. I can't, like, if I want to get rid of you, like, his story many bo. So now I need a break.
Yeah.
And then you live next door. Now, in my parents' house,
Man.
Hey, boy, child.
Yeah, I was even seeing stories about guys. There was a thread on Twitter about guys and their mamafuas. There was one who was saying that, whenever he comes home with a girl, the mamafua is jealous.
oh, I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Another one, the mamafua will open for him early in the morning, and then he'll be like, umetoka happy, it's late. I'm like,
Yeah.
that's not even the one who lives in the house, ni mamafua. Like the one who comes, I think the guys who prefer them to come on a Sunday so that they can like supervise.
Oh, they come in on a Sunday, huh?
They come on a Sunday.
Bruh,
but anyway,
let me tell you
they were catching feelings.
Can I tell you the flip side of this
What's the
story?
flip side?
For a lot of mamafuas, they'll tell you that every time they go into a guy's house, it's patapotea.
What do you mean?
They will be grabbed, they will be harassed.
Oh, no.
Exactly. Like if you had to wash clothes and you've got male customers,
Yeah.
are you comfortable walking into that house and doing everything for him? It's such an unfortunate conversation to have. But these I know a lot of these mamafuas who tell us,
no.
like a lot of them have been even raped.
Oh no.
What?
Yes. A guy is feeling handjams, he calls, unaoshanga nguo kuja.
Guy.
Who are you going to report to?
By the way, so you are.
Then
you
you
walk
need
into
the
that house
estate
knowingly.
office.
Tell me, who?
And then
The cops.
and
Do
then,
people listen to nannies?
Aki.
Do people
Guy.
listen to people who don't have money?
Facts. That's the question.
Like
Sad.
the Wochi, you can misuse him, but nobody will talk to you. You can even slap the Wochi there.
Okay.
And he'll even apologize to you.
Okay.
It's the most unfortunate thing. But for the ladies going into the homes, they have shared some really, really miserable stories.
Oh, yeah.
And that's why I feel like these apps zinakuja kusaidia. So that, at least she has evidence.
Yes.
That I went into this home and this...
And you can at least write a review, a report, something.
Or the apps.
Yeah.
Some are even so bad that you might not rape me, but Weinstein. You remember the Weinstein stories?
Weinstein. Oh,
Harvey,
this
yeah.
Nini,
So, the Harvey Weinstein, you know what happened, right?
Yeah. Hey, ladies. Happy International Women's Day, man. Please just go on and subscribe.
His whole story was what? He'd invite babes to like now, for example, if it's a nanny, right? And then you masturbate him because there are guys who love
Yeah,
that.
but they have Weinstein used to do that a lot, by the way. He just
so
tell
now,
you to
in a scenario like that, how will this woman,
report that.
what does she report?
Okay.
As in, there's one who told me she walked into a house and found this guy so he opened the door, he had a towel, right?
Yeah.
As soon as he closed the door, he dropped the towel. So what does she do from here?
Oh my Jesus.
Because she remembers she has a kid at home.
Yeah.
She has to
She
do
has
this
to feed.
job. Yeah.
Her mother is waiting for her at home.
To send
she just
money,
went to she ignored.
And
the guy
started
was
cleaning.
just standing there next to her in the bathroom. He's like, Harvey Weinstein. How does she report this issue? What does she
Jesus
say?
Lord.
Who will believe her?
Honestly.
Facts.
That's
Yes,
so sad.
what is about this gender? They just love money, blah, blah, blah.
So sad.
So that's crazy.
That's unfortunate.
It's unfortunate we've had to go in that direction because these are some of the stories that are happening in the country. We're going to talk about that, but I'd love to know what other things you've seen because today is International Women's Day. We'll get into that.
Yes.
But I want to hear your crazy stories.
I saw this guy who proposed to his babe while he's in prison. I think he's a rapper or something. And he has, I think, a 10 or maybe 12-year life sentence. And he organized like a whole thing. You know, the will you marry me? And like flowers and whatever. And then they set up a tripod with a phone. And now she was talking to him while he was in prison. And she said yes.
What is wrong? Were they dating before he went to prison?
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But still, he's going to be there for another decade.
It's okay. Love.
That's a
And he
lot of
wasn't even
bundles,
there. He wasn't
wow.
physically there
That's love.
to propose. I don't think I'd say yes. That's cap. I wouldn't say yes.
I feel like love transcends being in the same. No.
Nah,
Exactly. I was going to be like, where are you going with
I
this?
was gonna-
Where are you going with this?
No, but for real, like I feel like if I could meet someone who's loyal to me like that, I probably even wouldn't believe it. I'll be like, guys, there's a because that's love. If they've known each
But
other,
now who's the loyal
before,
one? One is in prison.
They're
Yeah.
both loyal. You think
No,
they get
but in prison, like weird
I'm
things
tired of
happen.
you.
Yeah.
Weird things happen in prison.
See-
Do you want us to talk about it? You know what I'm talking about.
Not every person who's been in prison.
Yeah.
I know someone who's been in prison for over 20 years.
And he's still a
He's
virgin
such
behind
cool
there.
guy. He actually, I'll bring him to this podcast one day so he talks to you about life in prison.
No, but he's still a virgin in the backside.
Yo, this story is so crazy.
That's all I'm asking.
This guy was put in prison for murdering his wife.
Did he?
No.
Did he do it?
Oh,
no.
shit.
Yeah,
That's horrible.
thank you.
Yeah.
He runs a campaign called Crime Sipoa. I'll bring him to this show. Yeah,
Okay.
so not everybody's having sex in prison, guys. Right? That's not the only thing. I know Americans have we've what's the word? They've shown it so much that there's a lot of
We are starting to believe it's
sex
facts.
there,
Yeah.
but it's not everyone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there are those ones who wamekubali.
Yeah.
Unajua mimi napenda prison, mazee napenda huu. Wewe kwanza hizo mabreds zako unafikiri siwezi kukudish. Assuming that's how they holler at each other.
So who calls who soup? Where soup?
You arrive like this and the next thing, hey, what you hear the IG inspector IG saying that now the guys will be going to prison, they shouldn't be wearing masks. You know, like the way you go to
Because-
court nowadays and you
Yeah,
have a mask
yeah.
like this and you can have He's like, fuck that, let them face
Show
the
your
Yeah.
face.
So we know who they are.
to cry.
right.
But in my head, I'm like, okay, you know the way in Kenya, you can be paraded here as a suspect for 7 months or even 6 years, only to find that there's actually no evidence. You weren't even in the crime scene, right? And you know now you're guilty by in court of public opinion. Funika sura.
Hey, bro, hide it.
In fact,
Hide
me, I'd
it.
even get that. You know that mask, the one you apply and you're
You
someone
look
else.
different.
You're showing up to that office that really caught as Trump. With the mask, I look like I've come to rob them.
You would say
The one for Mission Impossible. The one where you take off the mask, you're absolutely...
That part where he was removing a bunch of hey, lakini Tom Cruise alikuwa anatupanga kama library.
Vibaya sana.
But he did all his own stunts, so
he's still doing
big
them,
up to him. Would you say yes to someone who proposes while he's incarcerated?
Oh, listen to me good.
Would you say yes?
No. No. By the way, these shorties who love writing to people in prison, I need to understand what vitamin D you're lacking.
No.
Right? You know,
vitamin D.
You see Onyancha, right? He's trending. And I think it's also part of journal, like media has a huge part to play in this shit.
True.
You keep advertising this guy. And you know, people are famous people.
Yeah.
So this guy is a murderer, but now he's a famous murderer.
Yeah.
Right? And I was just saying, okay, lakini anakuanga cute.
Unakuanga cute.
Venye anashinda
He used to eat people, but he's cute.
Sali anashinda kulizwa, why did you kill them? Kuna venye anafanya hivi, akina monea, anakam cute.
Anakam handsome.
So naanza kumwandikia maleta. Onyancha nakutaka, Onyancha nakupenda. Right? The next thing, Onyancha has proposed to me and I'm like, oh my God, guess what, guys? I'm getting married. Listen, it's not a must to get married.
See must.
But if this is someone you love and they're in prison and you never know. Like if I believe you that whatever crime you committed.
Yeah. I know you didn't do it.
Even if you did it, I know you did it maybe out of circumstances and you've changed or you've said, I regret.
Yeah.
Should everybody leave you alone? Or if I love you and I stick around, isn't that a nice thing? It's a unique thing.
Nice thing.
Yeah.
But you don't have to get married.
Not normal. It's
but you don't have to get married.
Why not? This is the love of my life. So you wouldn't marry someone who's an army person, who's, always on the move.
That's different. They're going to fight for our country.
He's going to fight for his life in prison.
That is. But
he's fighting for his life in prison every day.
Nope, it's a no for me.
Would you propose to someone who's in prison?
I mean, if I know
the answer.
If I know the story, like I feel like this person did not commit this crime, I mean, I'd still love them in prison. Like if they're guilty, nitawacha tu.
Kerry, wacha nikuambie kitu.
No, for real.
Ati kitu imeenda prison. How will this work? Utaniwachia hapa kwa
Aki, si ndio?
No, obviously, like we have to like decide and agree on how we're going to go about this relationship. Because Kenyan prisons hakuna nini conjugal visits.
Then forget about it.
No, they are. Conjugal visits are a right.
Really?
For real?
Yes.
In every prison.
My guy.
Because I was about to say the only reason I would actually marry them was
and then
conjugal.
And then where do they happen? Like there's usually a room for conjugals.
But now they were saying
boom boom.
They have a boom boom room. But they were told they have to soup it up kidogo, as in isikae tu ya nini.
Yeah, man.
As in pam 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 pam. Kuna kashawa hapo nini si ati anakuja nina hata mimi naanza kunuka ka prison.
And how frequent can it be, like on a daily?
I don't think it's daily.
Yeah, then we have to come to an agreement. It is fucking around.
You are not going to be with someone who's in prison. Forget about it.
Itabidi akubali tu.
Yeah, because I was going to say the only reason I'd accept to get married was for conjugal visits, but even that, once a week.
Like once a month. That's too little. What kind of holy trinity shtick does he have that you're going to marry someone who's in prison?
And then there's usually this perception, like if you actually get down and dirty with someone who's like been in prison, they usually, as in the handjams on another level, yani, like you'll get the best shag of your life.
Honestly, because like first of all, they haven't even seen a woman since the last time they saw you.
Yeah.
Let's just start there. And you know how visual men are. So
I need to invite some prisoners up.
We do.
Former prisoners. Anywho, Carrie, what story have you seen that you want to share with us?
It's actually what you mentioned. I got to realize that even politicians are scared of drug barons. Because there's a cabinet secretary in the same thingy in Coastal in Malindi. They're talking about how the drug epidemic, especially sides of Malindi and Lamu, is so bad. Young people are getting into drugs, and then this guy was like, even seated here, I can identify like 3 or 4 drug barons, and I'm going to name them in 3 seconds. So he waited. 3 seconds later, he's like, mama hapo amesema ati nisiwataje, so sitawataja.
So you see,
while watching that video, I was like, name them. Angeanza index 001.
They can't. Let me tell you, bro. Really?
Yeah, see.
Okay, thank you.
Paka 999.
But I feel like we're already nakucheki. So, thing is, it was even in the paper today. There was a video.
Yeah, there's a
There was
video.
a video.
Bro, it was in the paper today. I talked about it on air.
Oh, yeah?
And they were saying how the Amazon Kingi was talking about how but which makes so much sense. Guys, okay. When you are like since your teenagers till now, haven't you noticed that there's so much available drugs?
Yeah.
Of course.
Like now drugs are they're too available.
Yeah.
Right? Like, do you know how many times I have to tell people, yo, I don't take drugs.
Yeah.
Right? Because people are offering.
Yeah, it casually comes up in conversation and you're like, why are you so comfortable talking about it?
Carrie, let me tell you, I've been going out for like a very long time. Right? I've never these things that you see in movies that you enter a party and there's just like
lines,
buffet.
Yeah.
Like there's drugs. So you literally have to. Now I have to tell people, hey guys, I don't take drugs, right? Because people are just
Shika.
Unataka gani?
You know, but you will be arrested for having that one or the whatever. Who's bringing these drugs into the country?
Exactly.
Have you ever had them being arrested?
No.
And they know them.
Because they have money.
They know.
That's why.
You know. The drugs were brought. They were brought by this person. They were dispersed. Like, people know.
Yeah.
Like,
And we
put
all
them in
know them.
fancy things and fancy packages and whatnot. But here's the crazy part. They imported marijuana. Hey, hapa nitaanza kutoboa. Sawa na toboa. They imported marijuana and they imported drugs, right?
Yeah.
These people never get busted.
True.
Yeah.
Even the guys who are trading them, they never get busted. Wacha ule kijana decide kubeba bangi kwa motorbike kutoka Ushago kwenu from Busia.
Okay.
You know, these are small scale farmers, right? Amebeba analeta connect wake hapa mama sijui nani. You remember like that mama for Pangani?
Yeah.
Those are not the big dogs.
They're not
Mother
big
Wangara.
wigs. Yeah, they're
You know
not big
that
wigs.
they're being packaged in some fancy things and fancy.
I swear.
Tunapangwa.
I swear tunapangwa. Because my mom was telling me this story about where she has a warehouse next to her. There was this guy who used to export to the EU. Like he used to export things to the EU. And like even like, because back then when her and my dad had started out the business, they were even wondering, hey, when this guy does what kind of business? Every night he's here, they are parking. Every morning you come, they are parking. So apparently there are these two, you know, like they're called bullet chilies. They look like ho-hos, like tinier versions of ho-hos.
Yeah.
They would cut them, put the drugs, and then put them upside down to look like they're exporting bullet chilies to Europe.
Those are
Kumbe there were
Scotch
drugs
bonnets.
inside. Yeah. Kumbe there were drugs inside.
So they have to
Yes,
have a
those
plan.
drugs were hot.
Yeah. So apparently one day cops just came and raided the entire place. That's how they found out that this guy was actually selling drugs,
How
not
they found out
fruits.
or how the guy had stopped protecting his business had to be. Unajua, to watch it,
Sindio?
to watch
Because imagine until today he's not in prison. He somehow ended up being able to not escape. He was in asylum in Australia. So he wasn't like put in prison, but I'm sure there was a lot of money that had to be put out for that to happen.
Of course, no.
But yeah, like it was like every night they're leaving the office, these guys are parking. When they come up early in the morning, these guys are parking. They're like, hey, what kind of business are these guys doing that we are not doing?
See what I mean?
Kumbe.
Lakini wewe decide kufungua bangi business
Hey.
yako ya so moja.
Imagine this guy is even taking them, shipping them to another country on a plane.
Bro.
On a plane, akisema ati ni exports ati fresh fruits and vegetables.
Wow.
Must be nice.
That's crazy.
Must be nice.
So my story,
Happy International Women's Day, my beautiful queens. Please do us a kind favor and subscribe. Tell your friend, tell your mother, tell your cousin, tell your sister, tell anybody and everybody who will listen to like, subscribe, and comment.
don't ever be in a coma.
Cause why?
Don't ever be in a coma. Do you ever think about, have you watched Kill Bill?
Yeah.
No.
So you know why you should never be in a coma?
No, I thought
You remember
it was-
that? Exactly. She came and that guy was shagging her man in her
Yeah.
dreams, bruv. Yeah. And the whole time she was in a coma, that Nanny had been weak. She
Yeah.
remembers the whistle. You have to watch Kill Bill to understand that reference.
I mean, I know the whistle part of it, but
Yeah.
like I never watched it because I don't know, it was too bloody. I'm scared.
Nah,
so dope.
Nah.
Tarantino was like splashing blood all over the place. To
they
see what I
actually
mean?
the bloody scenes are in black and white.
Oh, right.
And it's a, it looks like a comic book.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
The bloody scenes are in black and white because man, Tarantino
Oh, no,
movies
I know
were.
it has Uma Thurman. I know about the whistling thing. The
Yeah.
references have been made in a lot of movies that I've watched. Okay,
So that part, you need to go watch it. So anyway, there's a woman in America. She had been in a coma for 10 years.
And then?
She's pregnant. Like, I don't want to laugh about this, but because it's, somebody was
Yeah.
shagging
Who is the
her in that.
perpetrator?
So now they've collected DNA samples of everybody in that Nini. It's a home care for people who you need to be taken care of. Like now you're in coma for 10 years. You think you'll be at Kenyatta?
You can't
They'll have to take you to a hospice.
Yeah, hospice.
It's a hospice. So the workers at the hospice, their DNA is being collected because somebody decided to take advantage of this woman.
How old is this woman?
I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Doesn't matter if she's pregnant.
In my head, I'm like,
how does it work?
What's wrong? What's wrong
with men? Even me, I don't know what's wrong with men. They need to tell us.
Here, in my limited understanding, this is a man who has a depraved need. To, because these are the same people who put drugs. You know, they're guys who their thing is they drug the babe. Such can have least
Such can be almost comatose.
Yeah, and that's the only way he can have sex.
Yeah, it's a fetish. A disgusting one, but it's a fetish.
Carrie, believe it or not, there are men walking around in this city. They just have a drug in their pocket. They will look at a hot babe. They will buy for you lunch, everything. You will even be consensual, but it's not enough for him. He wants you not to resist. He likes the fact that what's the word for this?
What
did you call it?
Comatose.
No, but like he wants you not to resist him.
He wants
you understand?
To be
unresponsive, wants you to be conscious. But he doesn't want you to. He wants to feel power over you. You understand?
And he can't just do that by telling you. He has to give you drugs.
Because look, if someone tells you, hey, let's open this Pandora's box. This is the conversation we're having on International Women's Day, right? So we do know that people, and that's why I use the word depraved. I wouldn't say men. I'd say
depraved man,
this depraved man, this one, right?
Sick man.
And there are a few like him, right? Who, this is their thing. It is a need for power. I can't even explain. Psychologists, jump in the comment section, start telling us. Because what they feel is... It's like those guys who...
And it's not even at TCG, they're there to rob you or anything.
Honestly, it's just for that.
It's a fetish.
You know, like even at parties... maybe a babe has passed out. I don't go to parties that happens anymore. But like when you are in campus, right? And then so the babe has passed out over there, on the bed. And but you don't know that, people are passing through that room. You're thinking we're all nice people here. No, we're not.
That's true.
There's a guy who's looking, and this, as in he's so turned on by the fact that she's passed out.
I swear to God, that there's an issue there. There has to be a mental problem.
And this is not just here. We watch it in movies.
Yeah, true.
All around the world.
Bill Cosby. We don't even need to go far. Bill Cosby.
This is an actual thing. Like, it's a control thing. You could get any girl in the world and she could do anything you want, even a prostitute.
You
want this one where you can be able to be like, let me put something in your drink. And then as she's going out, as in your guy is getting
That's harder, disgusting.
Right? Yeah. But, so I wanted us to have this conversation because it became very, 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 it's actually around the world. This is one of the biggest issues. GBV, right? Gender-based violence. And all this, especially murders of women, right? In Kenya. I want to focus on women. I don't want to focus on men, right? I know if you're that kind of guy who's going to say, but even men are dying, I really, really don't want you to leave this. Don't change the channel. Let's have this discussion all the way to the end. Then we can have a conversation about men.
Yeah.
Right? So women have even gone to the streets. I was part of a march where we were 10,000 of us on the street saying, this has got to end, right? But then, and Gilly will put the video. I was carrying a poster. I can't remember who gave me the poster.
I don't know. I found you with it.
Yeah, someone had written a bunch of Manila papers. I didn't have one, and they gave me this one, and I carried it. Now, there's a reason why I'm talking about it. My Manila paper says, "Don't teach your daughters how to protect themselves. Teach your sons, educate your sons." So it was scratched, and then now educate your sons. And a lot of people took issue with this. With this.
Statement,
right?
Yeah.
And especially men.
Yeah.
So I took time to really to contemplate. And to be honest, if I was the one who had written the Manila, I wouldn't have carried that one. Yeah. Why? Because I don't think the issue of gender-based violence is a man versus woman thing.
Yeah.
I think this issue has been going on for such a long time. In fact, it's escalating in its prevalence, or maybe in the prevalence of reporting. But I don't think women saying, men, do better, is going to end this issue. Until we both come to the table and say, guys, we have some vile people amongst us. These people also hurt men. These people also hurt animals. These people hurt children. Right? They hurt women, but we don't talk about them. with men and say, hey, how do we sort this? What we look at it is, men, you guys, you men, you men. And for me, the way I look at it is, if we continue like this, we're just giving a space for the perpetrators. Because it's still a debate between, and so kila siku tu katikati yetu tu tunaona watu wanauliwa. Why? Because women are so angry and they're making it look like it's men. Right? And I'm angry. I'm a woman. I'm angry. But I'm not angry at men. I'm angry at the fact that this situation is happening. So now it's been drawn like this. Feminists on this side, and then there's men on this side who are just like, now to my monkey. And so what do you see in this fight for end violence against women? You have men who even are there where we were. Who are telling us, tell your women to stop being loose. So if you're going to point fingers, then let's point fingers. And we are not going anywhere. So I don't think this issue is a man versus woman thing. I think I'd love to hear your thoughts.
We need to have a discussion.
I think it's quite sad that it had to escalate to that. Like once people took the streets to actually just rally up and say that women need to stop being killed, because those cases it was getting out of hand. And it's just like it's the first time that people got vocal about it, because it used to be like one loose story on the news that's reported, others are happening behind the scenes, people are not going anywhere, or other people are not talking about it. But what I was saying is quite sad that once those stories started coming out, then it just panned out to be men versus women. And most of the time, I think the people who are saying that, even men are being killed by women, it's the wrong time for you to actually bring about that conversation. Because I mean, you could talk about it, but don't talk about it when we're actually trying to show concern or raise alarm, the fact that, man, like these stories have been going on, nothing is happening in parliament, nothing is happening with the police. So I mean, we just take turn to rally up and protect women, because for me, I was at that rally as well, and I was at the rally because growing up I was always told that men are meant to protect women. I mean, I have a daughter who's about to get to become a teenager. She wants to go out, and we get to hear stories of like this, that people blacking out at parties and being taken advantage of. It's about time that the narrative changes and people actually get to call out the bad apples and call out people who are there to just exploit, to kill, to assault. So I think there's the right time for people to raise concern and actually rally, but you don't go on and start pointing out and saying, oh, even men are being killed when women are on the streets protesting.
Can I just add there and just say, I'm going to play devil's advocate. All right. So for men who are much older, I don't even care to have this conversation with them, because I think you're stuck in your ways. Like people in their 60s and above, I genuinely am not going to try and change their opinion on this. Right? But people who are younger, right? Let's have this conversation. But I want to start with Gen Z. Here's a young man who feels that the world is teaching him that he's a bad person. A young man growing up is taught that he can be a murderer, he can be a rapist, he can be like every single thing. Like anytime a perpetrator does something, to him, it is reinforced that I'm a bad person. So I was reading an article in The Guardian, and they were talking about this issue, why Gen Z don't feel sad for women who are getting GBV'd. Right? Because they feel like they're the victims. When every time there's these conversations happening, they feel like there's only two genders. I mean, there's those other ones, but then there's these two genders that we are familiar with, right? And so when a man does something, just now I was telling you, when this story for the Kisi Nini, the guy, the one I was telling you before the podcast, I feel bad because I feel like I'm being attacked as a Kisi, right? But it's not all kissies that are doing these things. When one kissy is doing something, it's not all kissies, right? So it's the same thing for men, right? And I know feminists, you're gonna finish me on this one, right? But it's time we have a larger conversation, right? Because as much as we want it to come to an end, we need both men and women on the table. And imagine, you're saying you want your girl to grow up in a safe world. Imagine if you had a young man who's growing up worried that he's a rapist, worried that he's the perpetrator. He has no pride in himself. There were boys who are in this article who are saying that, and you can check it out, it's on The Guardian, that if he's in school, right? Because the kids who are being asked, they're school kids, they're high schoolers, right? They're primary school and high school kids. And they're being asked, he said, if there's someone suspected of something or something has happened in school, nobody will believe that it's not him. So he already knows that people believe women, they don't believe men. And so if you ask this kid, let's end gender-based violence against women, what are you talking about? They're the reason my life is hell. Yeah? Everybody believes them. Everything is about women. Haven't you seen that narrative unfolding here? Haven't you seen people saying, like now, even this conversation about GBV has become a men versus women. And it really isn't. And I feel like both men and women have a huge part to play. For women, I feel like it's anytime there's an issue that happens, it's like, you see you men? And is it men? Do you feel like you're a rapist?
No, I really don't feel like I'm a rapist, but most rapists are men. But that's the sad thing about it. Yes. It's embarrassing as a man getting to hear or getting to feel that women are actually aggrieved by things that are being done by men. And
here's my question. And this is the question these kids are asking, right? Is it in the population of men compared to the perpetrators, how negligible is that number?
I don't know, but the statistics for men being more violent and more likely to harm women is higher.
Yeah, hear me out. Not likely. I'm not going to go with those stats. I'll say this. The perpetrator is mostly a guy, right? Mostly. Right? But is it all men? Is it 40% of men?
No, it's
Is
not.
it 30? Is it 10? Why should a whole gender be handling? Okay, let's move from that. Let's look at this story for let me tell you how, what's the word I'm looking for? We generalize. That's not the word I'm looking for, but let's use generalize. When the murder for this babe happened, where I was being roasted, right? Because I said, I don't care that you're not feeling Nigerians now. I was roasted. Please name one Nigerian that has been charged for murder.
Facts.
But Kenyans went ham on Nigeria and Nigerians, not murderers.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense.
It does.
Did all of Nigeria commit this crime?
No.
Exactly. So doesn't it make sense to call these people what they are? Murderers?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, but the ones who are not in that percentage, the men who are not in that percentage, what are they doing to even make the women around them feel safe? What part are they playing?
The men around you don't make you feel safe?
No, they do, but I'm asking, what part are they playing? Because it is very unlikely that a man will feel unsafe walking alone in an alleyway where they're just women.
It's true.
But women will feel very unsafe, whether you're a good man or not. I've already been shown that men cannot protect me. Even the men around me, they cannot protect me.
The guys,
right?
like, if we're walking with Carrie, you're not going to feel safe?
No, with Carrie, I'm going to feel safe. But if I'm walking,
strangers.
if I'm walking in front of strangers, I'm not going to feel safe because I've already seen how being the only girl in a bunch of in an alleyway that has a lot of guys, it's already unsafe just because I'm a woman.
Yeah, but you see,
it's already unsafe.
Have you ever asked yourself why that's the situation? These men will tell you, even them, they feel unsafe.
How? From what?
We were discussing here about how you can go and tetea a babe, and then the next thing you're the one who's being stabbed.
Okay, that's fine. But I'm saying in general, like who is more likely to feel unsafe? Like there was a whole thread on Twitter about if men didn't exist, women, what would you do? And some of the things that were saying, they actually made me so sad. They'd be like, I'd walk alone feeling safe.
Yeah.
I'd listen to music and not care about who's around me.
Yes.
I don't have to scan my environments. Who made that happen?
I get that, Joyce, right? And that's why I said this is unpopular opinion, right?
Yeah.
We have been victims for too long.
Yeah.
Okay? And why I'm putting it in air brackets is because I'm putting everybody who's the victim in this. This also includes men, right? But when we're talking about gender-based violence, because we are the prevalence of victims is women.
Yeah.
The prevalence is women, right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't exclude men. Now, let's get out of this. We must support women. Let's go to why would men be behaving like this? And I've just given you an example. Here are young boys growing up. This is supposed to be the future generation. They say, I must feel safe. I must feel protected. Who's saying, fuck this babe. She's the reason people don't listen to me. I feel like an underdog.
So what about the generation that came before him?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm helping you understand, right? So when this march we were doing on the streets, I was talking to a bunch of men, so many types of men in different caucuses, right? And they said, nobody wants to feel themselves, right? Joyce, you don't want to feel like even close to related to the perpetrator.
Yeah.
You don't want to feel like that. So if we change this narrative that men are the ones, right? It's like pointing at somebody and saying, okay, like the class teacher, somebody has broken something or stolen something in the class. And then the teacher says, you guys are thieves.
Yeah.
Are you going to feel like helping the teacher? Exactly.
Yeah. So how do you change that narrative?
The students are the ones who usually steal.
Yeah.
But is it all students? So are all students thieves? Right? So even men, they want, he's just told you here, he wants to protect his daughter.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
But it doesn't feel good.
Yeah.
Being told that you are the perpetrator.
Yeah.
So women, we are pushing our anger and facing it menwards, right? Rather than, you cannot do this fight without men. We need men as allies. You're walking on that street. You said you want to feel safe.
Yeah.
But that guy is worried. Can come to protect you. Oh, you leave and run away from him. Maybe you leave and feel like he's the one who's trying to attack you.
So what you're saying is it needs to be a collaboration. That's what you're saying.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
But
This conversation on GBV and who is the victim, we already know who are the victims.
Yeah.
We read the stats,
Yeah.
right? But how we are choosing to deal with it to get to the bottom of it is creating a gender war. And it's not just in Kenya, it's global, right? Now, globally, we're asking ourselves, how are we going to get to the bottom of this thing if there are only two genders, unless transgenders are the ones who are going to come and help us, right? Maybe you'll be allies with. But we are all, even transgenders are victims. Even gay people are victims, right? So, and I know this is a very sensitive topic. That's why I started.
Exactly.
I started by saying mine as Sheila, not as Boxpod. This is unpopular opinion.
Yeah.
The moment we can put the anger aside, right? Anger is good. We need us on the streets. Let me tell you, there's a documentary akina Priyanka releasing. Priyanka Chopra, my twin from India. Why y'all's haters, man?
I said nothing.
Anywho, so there's a documentary that they've been a part of, including Dev Patel. I think he's that guy for Slumlord Billionaire. And they're basically, it's this thing. It's going to come out this week for International Women's Week. And you think this issue is crazy? In India, rape is
that's
there are
true.
crazy things happening in India. Did you see the one of there was a gang rape of a woman in a bus? A bunch of strangers.
I've seen some from a few years ago.
Mumeingia kwa bus, alafu kuna dem, alafu nyote mmekubaliana mrape. You understand? I feel like the issue
and these are a bunch of strangers who don't know each other.
Exactly.
So how are they all behaving exactly the same?
And that's what I'm saying. The issue here is not a man issue. Are you ready for me now to open the Pandora?
Open.
Right? Because we've discussed and we know where we all stand, right? Say we have a guy here, let's call him Mungai. Mungai is dating Ivy, right? They're married, right? Before they date, Mungai beats Ivy, right? Ivy packs her bags, goes back to her mom's house, right? At the mom's house, she tells everybody, her friends, what happened, right? And at that point, everybody's like, oh, you guys, maybe it was the first time. People convince this girl, right? Is it only men who are convincing her?
No.
Okay. It's not only men, sindio. Just even her sister, right? Even her sibling who was just telling her, go back, right?
For what
reason? They get married, right? He beats her. This is maybe 1 week into the marriage. He beats her. He didn't really hurt her, but he slapped her. Bam! Across the face. right? He didn't hurt her. No blood spill, nothing. She comes back to her mom. They've just married 1 week. What will the mom tell her?
Bro, me as a mother, I tell you to come back home.
Won't they bring the families together to discuss?
Yeah.
Right? Won't even a pastor be involved in that shit? Okay. Is it only men who are on that table?
No, it's everybody.
It's a community.
It's the whole family.
Right. If Mungai slaps her the second time and she falls down, knocks herself on the table and dies, right? Joyce, who killed Ivy?
Definitely not me, because I'm not going to tell Ivy to go back.
I'm asking, in this scenario, who killed Ivy?
Everyone.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You can't, this issue for GBV is not a man issue. It's a
society issue, yeah.
And even in
It's a
this
society
documentary,
issue, yes.
I saw the snippet, and this is the same issue. There's a father who's decided to take, somebody in the community raped his daughter. He's decided to take the issue to Paka Supreme Court. The village is angry with him.
Imagine.
You understand?
Yeah.
Right? They are even talking to him and saying, the guys even say, if you take me to prison, who'll take care of my family?
That's why I was asking you when you were reading this story for The Guardian with the Gen Zs, the generation that came before them, they didn't do any better, and neither did the generation that came before them.
Yeah.
So I understand what you're saying about it being a societal thing.
This issue
But they can't now just be saying, I don't care if they are GBV'd. It's not our fault. You guys were not taught any better by your society, and vice versa. Because I grew up in the exact same society. There's so much I had to unlearn. A lot of women who are like me, like you, like Kerry, there are so many things we had to unlearn to be better for the society. And I keep saying, it has to start with you. Yes, generally as a society, we need to do better with teaching our men, teaching our children, teaching our daughters, but it has to start with you. If you're going to show up because someone has told you you're a murderer and you show up as a murderer, what kind of person does that make you? But if you tell me, oh, this is who you are, I'm like, no, me, I know who I am. And I'm going to show you who I am. So you need to start doing better yourself. But you have to change yourself before you change society. And in general, yes, society has failed us, but the change has to start with you.
It's true.
Yeah.
But again, nobody plans to be a murderer, especially when it comes to GBV. It's all very passionate. It's either you're not going to see anyone else, or like all these murders, they happen in a... Right? Yeah. It's not at the guy, and even when the guy is pangaing, he's carrying a shoka, this is still someone who's tripped. They are not in their right senses, right? So this is passion that's driving this. Passion that has been... Okay, let me ask this question again. Let's give the example of Mongi and Ivy. So Mongi and Ivy are married. The first time Mongi slaps her, right? Now with this understanding, they're married for 1 week. Should Ivy report this to the police? It's just a slap.
Ideally, yes. But
or at least keep records.
Ideally, yes.
What's
not even keep records.
Or something. He must have scarred you in some way. I would advise for you. First of all, I wouldn't even... Okay, sorry. Let me just keep quiet.
Well, it might be too late when it gets to that point. Or you've kept records. I took a picture of me with the black eye, and then later on, when unfortunately, like we've lost someone, that's when you get to see, oh, kumbe alikuwa na chapwa. So ideally, it should be reported when it's as small as a threat of saying mini nitakuua. As in when someone starts saying things like that, like you definitely should be concerned about it.
Have you ever had a passionate argument with someone you're in love with?
Yeah, but si point ya nitakuua.
Let me ask you. At that point in that argument, is there any logic?
No.
But you see, this person who's murdered someone, a very high percent of them already have a history of violence. A very high percent of them have a history of violence or some kind of mental issue that has not been.
Let me tell you something. I've done. Yeah,
Go ahead.
I've never fought in my life completely. So I have zero history in violence. Maybe I fight Smackdown on PlayStation when I was a kid. But there's one time, and I've said it before, like I got into an argument with someone I was dating. I got so pissed I punched my car. Till like I messed up my wrist. I couldn't fly, I couldn't go anywhere because I basically hurt myself.
Yeah.
And while that was happening, I was punching the bonnet of my car. Like I was in my senses. I was just pissed. As in I wanted to take it out on something. So I took it out on myself. So if it gets to that point where you're not yourself, I think there's small things that you could actually get to identify before. I was in a relationship where we were arguing all the time. And if it got to the first argument and I'm like, guy, upper, me, like, would never get to hack and went our separate ways, man, I wouldn't have messed up my hand.
Yeah, true.
But you see,
true.
I want to go back to what Joyce said. You said, these people have a history of violence. Their family knows.
Exactly.
Their people know.
Exactly.
So if they convinced this girl to stay or didn't do everything to protect her, don't they also have blood on their hands?
They do.
The friends who knew that this guy was violent.
They do.
But how come I don't hear you guys saying, you have blood on your hands?
To the family.
The violence is now just a man issue. But you see, if this environment wasn't there, and that's why I say it's easy. I was having an argument with someone about it's very difficult to import solutions, like say from America, and bring them to Africa.
Yeah.
Because with Africa, it's not just an issue of this is a woman, right? America has dealt with their issues for hundreds of years, right? They've empowered the woman, As we're on the streets, you're talking to a woman in not 5 kilometers from Nairobi who's telling you, chali yangu lazima nipige slap kama nimenini.
Imagine.
As in, they must correct me. Who are you fighting for?
There's even a lady who came from the match and she was beaten by her boyfriend, or was it her husband?
That's
same match that
who
we
are
are
you
at.
fighting for?
Yeah. That's why I'm saying society has failed us, but we can't just close our eyes and be like, it's a gone case. They already failed us. We're doing horribly. You have to start somewhere.
But can't the conversation be, let's all do something to end GBV?
Yes.
But a lot of women are angry.
True.
And they're now, because of the anger, it's blinding you. And now you're just like, this is the perpetrator.
Exactly.
That's the perpetrator. That's the perpetrator.
Yeah.
And that's why they're not joining us.
Yeah. And they have to take it out on someone.
This becomes a woman issue.
Yeah.
This becomes a woman issue.
Yeah.
And the guys were just like, I'll protect my own famo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, let me protect my own fam in private. Na nyinyi malaya wa uko nje, stop collecting people's taxi money.
Because they think that's the issue.
No, because we are not talking about the issues
anymore.
We're talking about who we want to
blame. True.
Right?
That I agree. That I agree.
Why hasn't Gava talked about this?
How are they going to talk about it? Even them, they are not taught how to talk about it.
No, but as in, why isn't the president saying, taking a firm stand on this?
Because there's more men in there.
Because this country is, when it comes to this issue for GBV, there's still women who are in the basket of lazima mwanamke achapwe kidogo.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So as much as you want to put rules and force guys, there'll be people who will tell you what happens in my home.
A
lot of you are watching this and your dad slaps your mom and she's never left.
Yeah.
And she doesn't consider that violence.
Yeah. Even those who don't consider it violence, have stayed.
Yeah, and this cuts across Indian families. We know these things are happening, right? But you see, it's been ingrained inside the family. A thing like being hit is a family issue, right? Until the death now becomes a public issue.
And then you start saying, he's always been beating her.
Exactly, but mulikuwa hapo mnajua hizi vitu zinaendelea.
Yeah.
So even if you want to say that's the perpetrator, but the perpetrator is being protected.
I even know families who where the uncle has raped one of them and they still hang out and they still do family gatherings together. And I'm like, how?
Incest
can never be me.
It's so
can
common
never be
in
me.
families.
Yeah.
It's so common.
Yeah.
Like it's so common that these are African issues that I don't think are an international solution, right? Will help.
Yeah.
Here, Africans need to sit down and ask ourselves, right? Seriously, Indians, like if India is having a similar challenge, right? America also has this challenge, but their issues are different, right? Their issues are completely different. This is not a issue because it's a family issue. This is just a man who's just practicing his own shit, right? But here we know that the issues are multiple, right? Yeah. Why aren't we opening up the conversation for dialogue?
We do need to open it up, but it also has to start with an individual standpoint. Because if you're not willing to unlearn, what's the point of having these conversations? You'll have them for the rest of your life and you'll be like, no, I know men are supposed to beat women. And you're not willing to change from that mindset. And as a woman, you're like, I know if my husband loves me, he shows me by beating me. And you're not willing to change. What's the point of talking to a wall?
But here's the question. If, you see, unpopular opinion, when we decide to start unpacking these things and we go county to county, different communities, and these women say, this is how we like it. Are you going to respect it?
No, you come back again and you talk to them again, but there are those who are still going to be stuck in their ways.
That's
like
what I'm
you
saying.
said.
Are you going to respect if they say, this is our culture, this is our tradition, it's okay for your man to slap you once or twice as discipline?
Am I supposed to respect their
Will you respect their
wishes?
culture, or will you say that man has brainwashed her?
Depends.
That's when we need to have a conversation.
It's quite hard to change something that has been engraved, especially if it's culture, and that's why you when you started, you're like, people who are 60 and above, like you can't change their ways, and mostly that's what culture is all about, and that's why it might be quite hard to get to tackle it. And but one of the ways that could actually happen is now the Gen Zs who feel affected, especially the guys. And you actually made a point, because it's unfortunate that we have two genders, two main genders, and one gender is being affected by the other more. Okay, actually, it's both ways. It's just that the more perpetrators are men in what is being reported. So it's quite unfortunate that it's like that. But maybe the narrative needs to change, because now you've actually made a whole lot of sense in everything that's going on and how it's become a gender war. The narrative, if the narrative changes now from explaining to Gen Zs that we are all responsible for whatever is happening. It's not the men killing the women. It's not the women being killed or women kubaling to go back after they've been assaulted. It's an everybody effort. And
I don't know about convincing Gen Z, bro. Gen Z right now who are telling us gender. This is how they address us. This gender.
It's because of how it's been. It's because of how it's been.
Kerry, let me tell you.
So now, by you saying you don't know how you're going to convince Gen Zs, and Gen Zs saying they don't want to be convinced, we're not going anywhere.
That's what I'm saying.
Someone needs to kubali.
I'm going to send you this article. You got to read it. Because this is, it's like if someone has raised you Catholic, do you know how difficult it is for you to become Muslim?
Yeah.
Right? You've been indoctrinated.
Yeah.
You see the young men, they think, babes, the only thing they want money, right? They are just loose, right? And babes have no value. This is how they speak about women. How do you think this situation will be? Let's imagine 2030.
But there's hope for them.
How will they be communicating with each other?
But there's hope for them to unlearn, compared to those who have already lived that experience and are now 60 years old.
The part you're not getting is that there's a resurgence. You see what our grandpaps were going, what they thought. Here it is. It's like now we are going, it's like all the smartness that we gathered, we're not going back to that. Why? Because of that victimization, right? So this guy feels, this is a 15-year-old boy in school saying, even if today something breaks in this class, the teacher will automatically believe that it's me. So he's already starting to have an idea that if I want to make it in this world, this is a woman's world.
Yeah, but he's only 15. He has a long way to go. He can change his mind.
Those are his formative years.
Yeah.
So as he's interacting with babes, that's how he's going in.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
You're saying they can grow.
They can change. If I can change, and this change happened later in life.
But guys, the whole narrative around the world when it comes to end GBV is
the blaming the men.
Women.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. But if we go about it the way you're saying and realize that it's actually society that has failed us, and we stop pointing fingers, there is hope for this generation to change.
And I feel like because of that narrative that men, then a lot of them are just like, you know what? I'll take the opportunity. Women don't deserve anything. And you're seeing them talking about it on the internet. A guy will even be like, yeah, I got her lit. There's a guy who called us on the radio and said, hey guys, let me tell you, I'm so glad I'm not a Gen Z. Because sometimes I feel, not in a bad way, but I don't feel like there's men out there that love women.
Yes, but also I think the Gen Zs in The Guardian don't speak for everyone. The way you're saying
on the radio today.
No, I'm saying the Guardian article. The way you're saying don't generalize. They don't speak for everyone, right?
This is a study.
They did a study of how many people, of how many Gen Zs.
This is a study they've done. So the article is saying that there's been a resurgence of chauvinism, if that's what you want to call it, right? Where men are just like, you know what, it's like men versus women, right? And this was like back in the day, right? This is like archaic thinking. Why would young people be thinking like this? Like millennials, we are so it's dying with us because they are going back to those ways. Hello, happy International Women's Day, and to all the beautiful women that are watching, you have no reason not to subscribe. And even the men, subscribe, because it's not a gender war. The agenda is us. Celebrate women. Subscribe. Like. Follow. This guy calls the radio and says, you guys, I can't remember what we're talking about. I think revenge or something. And then he's like, yeah, you guys, Kwanzaa, me, this babe. And this guy is like 20, no, he's 30, right? He says he met this girl when they were in campus. And while they were dating, she decided to hook up with his best friend because he had more money, right? So like they're dating, and then she cheated on him with the best friend. He was like, F that, dumped her. Then they got back together. He forgave her. He impregnated her for revenge.
Jesus Christ.
Yep. He called the radio. And he was the most bitter thing I've ever had. And then he's like, alipata mtoto wa kwanza akona mwingine on the way. Huyu mtamfundisha adabu. Don't love her.
No, what's that?
Remember, now I've made money.
He's going to bounce.
Now we're asking him. He said he'll take care of the kids, but he's not going to. He's going to run away. He's impregnating her for revenge.
That's so foul.
Exactly.
That's so foul.
Why? Because as much as we are getting smart, I don't think all women are smart enough. Because some of the things I hear women telling men down here, ati nyinyi kwanza nyinyi ma rapists, nyinyi manini, nyinyi kwanza hata mna pesa, wanameni pesa, why men are, and okay, sis, so Kim Kardashian is anakudanganya. You are down there with that guy.
Okay,
where are you going?
Pia una pesa.
Where are you going? And then finally, after you've talked that shit, it's him who's still paying your bills.
True.
How do you think he's going to treat you? True. Or the next babe he meets, how do you think he's going to treat her?
True.
Right? So I feel like on International Women's Day, I think as a whole gender, we need to, the perpetrators compared to the men species is limited, right? There are a lot of good men who are allies, right? And we must also address the allies. That it's not your whole gender that, or are we saying we're getting rid of men? If that's the conversation, then I can't be a part of that. No. I have brothers, I have sisters.
Exactly.
I mean, I have grandparents. I have so many men in my life who are allies. They've not done anything, right? And they are willing to be a part of this conversation. But we're not going to move far if we keep victimizing them.
True.
Because we need them on the table.
Yeah, so as a society, we need to do better.
Yes.
That is all I am saying. There was even a study that was done in one of these countries. I want to say one of these rich white countries because they can afford it. And they did a prison system where instead of punishing the perpetrators, they treated them with kindness, love, etc. And when they left, those who are treated with kindness, love, and all these good positive affirmations did better in the outside world than the ones who are actually being tortured in jail. So, moral of the story, let's do better as a society.
In Madagascar, if you're a child rapist, don't try it.
No, not child rapist. I'm not talking about extreme crimes.
Did you see what child rapists are being forward for in Madagascar?
I haven't seen.
One time. There's no need for you.
They're killing you.
That Jules, you don't need it.
They cut it out.
Shit.
Castration. One time.
Wow.
Yeah. How I feel.
Some extreme measures like that make people not act out.
There was a conversation for castration in Kenya.
Yeah.
Do you remember?
Some extreme measures like that.
I tell you that this story for GBV is it's not a now thing.
It's not a now thing. That's true.
It's been happening. But if you do the studies and look, if you keep making it a men versus women argument, you're not 2030 will still be out there. Move, 5 women are killed today, right? Because it's just getting worse.
True.
But I don't agree.
Yeah, but
now you see like places like wrong place to give an example, but in Saudi, people leave their shops open.
Yeah, no one will steal.
No one steals
you
shit.
You've gone far. Here in Somaliland.
Is it
Somaliland?
Because
Somaliland, the country.
Because they cut the arms off for thieves.
That's true. That's true.
Once you know the consequences.
I swear.
Really?
Yeah. Even in
you
dudes.
Go do your shit.
Even in dudes. My mom has ever left her phone in the cab. The cab driver entered the cab looking around for her to return her phone. So that he's not blamed for stealing the phone. Because they take it very seriously.
We make you an MP.